Hi, everyone. This is Christine. I'm here with Claudia today from Earth Empaths, and we have the pleasure and honor of having an interview with Mike Emery. Just came across him recently, some of his information and a video of his agnostic warrior, which resonated so closely with our own introspection, understanding, knowledge, and gnosis that we wanted to speak with him. So, Mike, without saying much more from me, would you just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, I believe you're a physicist. I know you come from Montana, and I know you rode the rodeo. So whatever you'd like to share with us, we'd be happy to hear.
Yeah, I'm a wild Montana cowboy physicist, spiritual physicist. Anyway, I grew up in Montana. I used to ride range from sun up to sundown, quite literally, rodeo on weekends. Get up at sometimes, some summers, we had things to do with horses. So we get up like at 3 o'clock in the morning, go find our jingling horse in the corral, swim a river, go to a 10-section pasture that was like on the side of a mountain in Glacier Park, 10 sections, like 10 square miles, and gather up like 80 head of horses and mules out of there, and bring them back, swim the river, go back up to the barn, and get it all done by 6 in the morning. That was cowboying.
Okay.
And so from there, when Montana State is where I went to college, where Boeing gets most of their aeronautical engineers and physicists is from there. So it's an A&M school and it has excellent, for years, technology aspect to it. And I was having a lot of fun in college, but along the way, I set the highest score in the most difficult subject that the physicists, mathematicians, engineers ever encounter. It's called dynamics, where the problems that you have to solve have no fixed parameters. It's kind of a difficult subject for most people. For some reason, it was very easy for me. Well, the whole curriculum was very easy for me. I challenged courses, stayed drunk most of the time, aced all the tests, and flagged all the homework because I didn't do it. And that's how I got through college. Went skiing every day in the wintertime. Anyway, and then I've worked with the Bio-Electromagnetic Institute. I used to lecture there about bioelectromagnetics, which a lot of people talk about these days, using bioelectromagnetics to cure things. There are two really excellent extents of the bioelectromagnetic idea, i.e. using vibrations, one of which is in Russia. Putin hasn't aged. Well, we know his doctor, they broadcast an electromagnetic energy at him that changes his DNA. It's like you can smile and change your DNA. Well, we can also put you in a field and change your DNA. And they've been doing that for some time. We know it's a little bit technical, that technology, because it's microwave and things like that. But it's based on vibration. So in Russia, they also have the image-based healing, which, that's, for example, a crop of corn will have 10 times more magnesium in it than what's leached out the soil. And so where does the magnesium come from? And the answer is, well, it's an image to begin with. And so essentially what happens is that iron or any other mineral that's in the neighborhood and the whole corn crop realizes that they have to have this magnesium. The whole corn crop focuses on just having magnesium, and bam, it's no changeo. That image is imposed on these other minerals, and they change it quite literally in the blink of an eye. Less than that, actually. No time. All of these spiritual events occur in no time because past, present, and future is here now. So, although there is a rush of time, which is evident by all of the everything being predetermined, and actually the ethers themselves stretch due to things passing through them, and which is evidence of the rush of time. So we really do have a form of lineal time everywhere, even in 2D. But anyway,
I'm sitting here, Mike, already going, okay, let's slow down for a minute. I mean, everything that you're touching on is provable by scientists, right?
Yeah, I got all that stuff.
Technology exists, and it's also correct taking from the knowable by us without the technology. Would you say that's correct?
It's doable without technology in an ashram setting, where the love of the whole place blows the lotion out the ethers around there. You can't have the lotion. Well, you can, but you're going to have dark night of the soul conditions that are very, very difficult to deal with. All of the people that go through in the enlightenment process on their own are stopped by the dark night of the soul. Vast majority of them. So a lot of them die as a result. The dark night of the soul is crap. It throws you in a major depression, so it does.
I want to bring it back to you for just a second here, because there's so many tangents, and you're touching already on so many very deep, not only let's say scientific, but also spiritual aspects of our life here on planet Earth. We've touched on Losh and vibration and all of these things. And can you just
free energy devices. I was reading, Seth and Carlos Castaneda and all of those guys, back in those days, and then also encountering free energy devices. I got $1 million PhD in free energy devices. I invested 800 grand with Joseph Papp, the Papp engine, which is a free energy device. It's a pulse plasma. It's a reciprocating engine that'll essentially run forever until the mechanics of it break down. And then Sparky Sweet, who I didn't actually give Sparky any money, but I went and witnessed his technology, which was something about the size of a good-sized dictionary, taped together with duct tape, that would make 60 cycle AC. It had no moving parts. It would make 60 cycle AC and produce about 50 kW, which will run 3-4 houses. And it just took 2 magnets and coils of wire. I know exactly how it works. And it's really, there's a lot of technologies like that.
So can I ask you, we know this probably is an obvious answer to a question, and yet maybe it's a little more profound. We know, those of us that have been, on the internet and doing our research and contacting each other, that free energy has been around for a long time. And we just go back to Tesla technology, scalar, and all of that. Why is this not available yet? Why?
Well.
I know that, everybody out there, let's say in the world, says, if you have a free energy device or, free energy technology or any true healing technologies, you're going to be targeted. Because the one thing that the Loosh Factory doesn't want us to have is actual applications.
Yeah, right. Well, the answer to your question goes all the way back to the reason of being for humans. We're entertainment species, and if we get too smart, then we're not as entertaining as we are when we're quite stupid. And I'd hate to say that, but that's the truth. and everything that's going on here right now is essentially God's dream. Everything starts from images, and she's the main image maker. God, first form of God is female, space, everything's conceived in darkness. This is led by logic, as to the fact that God is female. And the rush of images that come out of her basically mirror the requests of human idiots who go to watch television, and basically everything you bring in and label becomes part of an anu within you, which basically becomes part of your DNA. That DNA makes you. And so all of the images around you that you label, that you know what are, they make you. Okay, as well as everything else around here. And so then even collectively, we make the laws of physics, which are not real, but because we all think they are, and you get hit in a lead pipe with the head, yeah, that's real. It's laws of physics, isn't it?
Let me slow you down again for a minute, and perhaps this is a good moment for you. When you talk about the anu and you talk about her dreaming, the dream images, and it's all coming from God, is the explain the anu to us, and the magnetism, and as you said, the screen that we're projecting on, because this is primary from what I understood you speaking of, and when we spoke, is that we awaken within our human form to understand what we actually are, how we're actually made within this reality, and how we're creating this reality, and how we have been occupied. I mean, I consider that we're an occupied species with a great potential of creativity.
You occupied? You have no idea. There's an infinite number of souls that ride on humans, because we are the entertainment species. And for them to be us is like holiday. From the rush of everybody has God's mind except us. In other words, the past, present, and future of everything around you is immediately available to your consciousness, because it is the nature of consciousness to acquire images and information. You cannot stop it. It's gravity, And so when the nature of the way things work out there, it's best described by Anna Breitenbach in her Old World video about minute 23, where she says that when you're in your spiritual state, or in an astral state, or dead, or there's several other ways to get yourself into a state whereby when you look at something for anything longer than 3 seconds, there's a seamless merging. You become one another. And the extent to which you become one another is the past, present, future of both beings, because it becomes oneness. That is standard awareness for our body, for the human body, and the rocks, and the trees, and absolutely everything. It's all connected to God, except us.
Yeah.
Humans are the odd man out. There's a very good reason, and the reason is quite simple, and then there's all kinds of proof of this, that all of those guys out there are bored with knowing everything. And they don't do nothing. They just go along for the ride on everything, which is boring for God. He's got all of these people and all this stuff that she's created, but don't do stuff except, go along for the ride. And so, humans, the rush of predetermination around us it extends from the electron to the galaxy, and then beyond that, of course. But from the electron to the galaxy is very easy. Bell's theorem proves that the electrons have precognition. That's the way they ran Bell's theorem. They send out. Well, I don't really want to get into that unless somebody wants it. But bottom line, Bell's theorem proves that electrons have precognition. Then David Wilcock came up with this one based on the Nivieth constant in Iraq. Nivieth. They found a number that is a harmonic for every known orbit in the solar system. And then David Wilcock expanded that to one number that's a harmonic for every known orbit in the galaxy. Excuse me. That means that this galaxy runs like a Swiss clock.
Right.
Well, they all do. This has been known for a long time. I don't know why people skip over this one. This is unbelievably simple. All of the galaxies that we see out there that appear to be spirals do not spin as spirals. They spin as disks. And that's when they came up with the dark matter idea. Then with dark energy and so on and so forth, it moved along. They still don't know what it is, and it's just the ether. It's like unbelievable. Anyway, our science has been leading us astray. Everything's a mirror image, as you know, and the reason is because of the reason is because the councils of Nicaea. But the one specific to that is Michelson-Morley experiment, where they discounted the presence of the ethers. Once you know that the ethers are there, the ethers are a communication system. And like astral projection, you can go anywhere you know to go. And the time it takes you to get there is you don't get to finish the thought before you're already there. It's ridiculous. So why is that? The answer is because you're already there. Because you're already there, and just like the seamless merging, and so the already there aspect. I'll answer one of your questions now. Sorry, it has to do with Anu, A-N-U, the first name of God in the Babylonian text, Sumerian text, the Vedas. Anu was also the Anunnaki sky god, and he's an arrogant son of a bitch, but nonetheless.
Sorry, we have an inside joke on that. Go ahead.
Well, he was. The whole Anunnaki race was egotistical cunts because of of the way of what this sky god Anu put on him. It's like attracts like there too, isn't it? But I think they got over it. I hope they have.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Anu. Then people call that on me, say, well, what about this egotistical dude? And yeah, he was, and he's God, right? This guy God, yeah, right. Okay, where did he get his name? Where did he come up with that? The answer is because it's that root energy shape that's ubiquitous. It's you talk about the word ubiquitous. This really is, and everybody talks about God being everywhere all at once. But this is how that occurs. Is via the Anu, because the Anu is everywhere all at once, which is why in astral projection you go from one place to another instantly. The same thing can be done with technology as the Tesla Neutron device, which has been built 100 times by folks I know, friends of mine, and that can and will go anywhere in space and time instantly. You get there before you finish asking the question. Okay, and the reason is because you're already there. The reason you're already there, Anu's everywhere. All of that's just really standard fare in spiritual physics, because it is how the universe is constructed. And once you understand how the universe is constructed, which is really simple, then these ideas, the one I'm talking about, also get really simple. It's just mirroring. And it happens so quickly. It's a really nifty part about it.
So would you give us a brief description of your model from the Anu on out and how the universe is constructed?
Well, it's not a model. These things you can see with your naked eye.
Okay.
Some of them, a little bit of microscopy is helpful, or there are telescopes. The bottom line is back to the Michelson-Morley experiment for the current crop of physicists, is that they don't recognize the ethers. And the ethers are there, which is a background screen, which is like a grid system. And the grid system changes, from the quantum to the cosmos. In the quantum, the grid is square, and the cosmos, it's hexagonal. And in between, you have a five-sided boundary layer, etheric realm, or ether. You have to have the transition from square to hexagonal, and you do. And one really kind of obvious example: the crust of the planet is thinner than the shell of an egg proportionally, but it's all held together and doesn't move around really that much. And every tectonic plate on this planet is pentagonal, five-sided. They all are. Like, excuse me, that's a boundary layer, isn't it? Yeah, that's what it is. Anyway, and then the hexagonal aspect, is like from sunflowers to galaxies, it's all over everywhere. It's.
I need to understand. So how does it move from to the hexagonal? How does that happen?
Oh well, in the beginning, we had nothing. Okay, void, and that was boring. And girls get lonely, so she did.
Sorry. Go ahead. Okay, girls get lonely. Yes. Sorry, you made me laugh. Okay, so so in the minute there was the void.
Well, the boy comes along quite a bit later. There's a lot of stuff happens before that.
Okay.
The first one of which is the rule. This is where everything comes from. Is God's law, which is I am that I am. Which Moses had that on his first tablet. If we brought that, we'd be a whole lot better off. This whole planet would be way better off. Because that led into the Gnostic way. Anyway, so he didn't. Anyway, I am that I am is basically like attracts like. And that created a circle. And she loved it very much because beat shit out was going on before that, which was nothing. And all of a sudden, and the first I am was just a question. I am what? This is, these are just ideas coming along here. And this is the only idea to come up with that question. Just like everybody else, well, we all think we want to know who we are, but it's very simple who we are. The Anu is God, and everything is God. And we just are cut off from it intentionally by God. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Let's go through. I've got this written down in Mike's Theory of Everything, and reading Mike's Theory of Everything is really easy, and it's really funny, and it lays this out. So, if somebody really wants to know it cold, which they should do, they all they have to do is type Mike's Theory of Everything, and it'll come up on a couple different sites, and you can read it. But so I'll go through it quickly so that we don't have to spend a lot of time doing this.
Okay.
And so we start at the void. We have I am that I am that creates rule, and that creates circles to start with, which pull into squares because of the rule. Like attracts like. One after another, you got the circles, but they don't match up. Okay, very well. And the lines of the circles are made out of love, and that has a spin to it, which shows up everywhere. Up until now, everything spins. It starts in I am that I am. And so if you can see two circles touching one another, their lines are both made out of love. They self-attract, until they pull into squares. So you got square ethers, and that's what started. And so, you talk about one happy baby. She's playing with those blocks, and them squares are moving on out now, aren't they? Because they're self-attracting. Also, do the rule, they mirror off. Okay, so we got a whole bunch of action going on, and it's happening automatically within her, within space, and she cannot be happier. Still is, about it. That literally the lines of the ether are made from love, and the color of them is piezoelectric green. We know that, which is the same color as the heart chakra. And then they progress in size according to the Fibonacci series for a reason that actually happened in the hexagonal ethers first. The first beginning of creation was a sound, the Om, and which created toroids within the ethers. So you have these stacks of ethers. You start with the square ethers, and they got so big. Then and we're building up to quantum leaps here. This is love stacking on love. Love is self-attracting. We're getting hot and bothered with this is no bullshit. The next thing you know, we go Om. And the next thing you know, all of us are here. Okay? But there's sequences of events or sequences of ideas and images that have to occur to get here. And what those sequences are, it's unbelievably simple, starting right there at I am that I am, and going forward to stuff in my writings where it explains, the rule explains that this physical realm is composed of 7 image-only realms that are parallel to one another and flat in 2D, and the 2D being the square ethers. And then it comes out of there via the Anu in the hexagonal ethers, and the image is basically right from the mind of God in the square ethers, are made manifest in the hexagonal ethers by the anus getting together cooperatively and forming toroids, which are donuts, electromagnetic donuts, that you have to have in order to have any kind of vibration at all. Okay? Without toroids, there are no vibrations, period. With toroids, you got whatever. And those vibrations tail off to square the distance. And the reason is because it does take time to traverse the hexagonal ethers, whereas in the square ethers, there's no time, no lineal time. And so things happen instantly there. The ethers themselves have a consciousness, obviously. The lines, because they're loving, and so whenever they pick up that you want magnesium or you want to teleport your butt and everything else that you got with you from here to Alpha Centauri 3, you'll be there before you can finish asking the question. Bam. So anyway, it's like that. The Anu is composed of the two male forms of God. In the middle of it is Jesus or Vishnu, and it's better described in the Hindu. So the Anu's got two spins that are counter-rotating. The center spin, DNA spin, is the organizer or preserver of life, as Vishnu says, and it's described as being right-handed spin and centripetal or standing columnar as it is. They like to call it centripetal or centripetal, and it really is standing columnar. But anyway, there's a lot of guys that think they know these things when it's so obvious. The Anu, you can take pictures of it. It is without mystery. It is the God particle. It is everywhere. So you got DNA, Vishnu, Jesus in the middle, the organizer, preserver of form. And then on the outside, it spins the opposite way, and it's just exactly as described in the Hindu as being centrifugal energy, spinning to the left, and they say Shiva's the destroyer of form, but not really. What he does is that's where the image is portrayed. It's part of the Anu actually in the etheric, the flat etheric sheets. You have to have an image there, and so you have pixels, and those pixels are these Anus. And so whatever part of the image that's coming on out of the DNA is the crosslinks in there are a holographic diffusion pattern that is essentially converting the flat 2D image of God in God's mind in the square ethers to a round 2D image diffusion pattern inside the DNA, which is then broadcast across the gap between the DNA inside the Anu to the centrifugal spin on the outside, and it's broadcast to that. So, in other words, the broadcast comes on the reverse side, on the concave side, and so that's where the information is displayed initially, and then it flips over on the other side, and we can see it. And that then the toroids form inside that, and it goes on to create whatever the image is, your body. And I'll provide further proof of that here in a little bit. The genetics of it, how genetics works, is unbelievably simple. And I'll just lay it out. Your aura is your Anu, and in there is all the information that makes you. You are not your body, you are your aura. That is all the time. We only think that we're our body because, we're kept separate from all it is. And intentionally, by intention. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Humans are idiots. Some of the stuff that you look at, that we've been talked into, like orgasm. Let me get into that a little later. This is the glue of the universe, and we're made to think that it's pleasures of the flesh or some shit. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway.
So go ahead.
Okay, the Anu. So the Shiva part dissolves the image, and it goes back to God for a new image, and that's the let go aspect. The more you let go of, the more God gives. It's automatic. You can't get away. It's actually a problem. You can't get away from it. And so, that particular problem is again why humans we hold on to stuff, and because we hold on to stuff, it keeps repeating. And the way that we hold on to it, the anti-life energy, the losh, the fear, is anti-life. Well, the Shiva part of the Anu is anti-life. It's the destroyer, really the dissolver, but that's just, that's the only place that the losh can connect. Okay, and so when it does, it acts like a piece of mRNA, and it causes that information to keep repeating back through the Anu part, and the next thing you know, you got the same shit over and over again.
Right.
And the extent of that on this planet is off the scale, mind-boggling. It's like this. There is genetic evidence. You can look it up. Russ Epoch, John Zenson. There's genetic evidence of 23 different species of humans that have populated this planet. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right? That's just, and most of them are giants. Okay? And that's just what we know of. Okay? Who knows what beyond that? Because Mars was populated quite clearly, and then Tiamat, they blew it up. That's where the asteroid belt is now. And so the Archon and God, apparently with the okay of everybody else, has been changed in the ant farm every so often. I guess they got idiots perfected now.
Well, good.
So I think they're gonna save us this time. Much too entertaining to let go of.
Well,
excuse me.
However, things are changing.
Yeah, there's all kinds of divine intervention. And they're trying to do it in such a way that the idiot humans don't wind up worshiping some other son of a bitch for millions.
Wait. This becomes really an important piece for me to understand, and maybe for Claudia and some listeners, because of the work that we do. I just want to add here, real briefly, without getting into any details, that everything that you're speaking of is verifiable and knowable. And you don't even need to know the science. It's actually,
know the science.
Huh?
I do know the science. I've got it ad nauseum.
I'm taking my own statement to up what you're saying. Is that through a different type of process, or different of actually being in the ethers in the intelligence field? What you're describing is knowable by us. Even if we don't know the science, it's viewable. On the inner planes, it's viewable and knowable.
Well, yeah, all you have to do is image it. But there's a few, there is a little bit of a rule that you want to understand, and that is the main rule, like attracts like. And you actually have to be careful of it.
So let me say one other thing about divine intervention.
Yep.
Because I think it's a valid point to look at, is that the Savior memes is one of the biggest things that have kept us in these loops forever. We're always looking outward to the divine.
Correct.
Instead of looking inward to the divine.
That's just what I said. The humans, the idiots don't wind up worshiping some son of a bitch outside themselves.
Exactly. Right. So the divine intervention is really us intervening ourselves.
Yeah. Well, it's just...
Maybe it's because we got tired of being idiots and the entertainment species of the galaxy.
Oh,
maybe she also did have a perfect plan, and it's about to unfold before us.
Well, it all comes in cycles.
Okay.
And what's happening to the planet has happened before. We've gone into golden ages. Quite a few of them. The thing about the golden ages is it's all spiritual, and nothing in 3D is manifest. So you got no geological record of these things, other than the writings and stuff from the Aborigines and a few other of the native populations that know about it.
Are you saying that the repeat cycles we're in, going from the Golden Age to the Kali Yuga or whatever you want to call it, would you say that these are going to be repeated until all eternity, or is there actually a chance that we get out of it?
Oh, definitely. It looks like we're be coming out of it entirely this go round.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's my take as well.
And one reason for that, one possible reason for that, is that this Anu, that is this entire universe,
Mm-hmm.
will go into a void, into across the gap between here and the next universe.
Yes.
And if we do that, then you're talking about dream time for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And when we do that, it is, you are like God. Whatever you think of happens immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way forward for humans, for that is to do it as teams, and then to be committed to each other as teams.
Yes.
And the reason is because the teams can stay stuck together. They can they can provide entertainment for one another, and move on, and having fun and joy,
Mm-hmm.
which is what humans are supposed to do. Dolphins
Right.
There's honey traps out there. Love is one of those honey traps. And the minute you head down the love route, which is pretty easy to do, okay, you're going to wind up in a very bright, large community of souls that's so bright you can hardly get to it. And this is the real reason for humans, because of the rule, like attracts like, and love being self-attracting. If you strike down that road, that's where you're going to wind up.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And in between here and there, there's not much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just for definition, Mike, because just to have the word love itself is so not understood. So perhaps I have a different understanding of the word love. For me, it's closer to the ethers and the divine intelligence field that holds everything together, which might be closer to what you're using the word orgasmic about. I just want to be careful in using words because there's so many preconceived notions that we have in our heads.
Well, that's the thing about humans. Love doesn't work. We use it as a currency. We are idiots. We designer dummies. So, I mean, you take the building block of the universe that will fix everything, and you turn it into something that you can dole out with your pocket.
So it's a misappropriated use of the energy that the humans have of love.
Yeah, right. But
I think of love as a force field of a dynamic. I don't think of it as the notions that most humans have of love.
Yeah.
Well, it's both a noun and a verb, in the ethers. It's a background screen.
Hey, exactly. It's just there. Right. Okay. All right. So, but there are these false or these misappropriated uses of the love energy that take people into these realms where you were just talking about, right?
Yeah, right. So the thing about it is that absolutely everybody can play, and when you're playing with somebody, you're doing it for the fun and joy of both parties, and you sync up for that one purpose. There's no competition,
Yeah.
You're just playing for the fun of it, and that is probably, I feel, the way that humans need to continue entertaining ourselves as well as the rest of God's creation. Because if we go down the love route, we're going to wind up in the honey trap, period.
Right. So, okay. So, for the best way that I know how to get out of also the word traps and is to describe the energies.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. It's the same with everything. The way that you get through the dark night is the same way that you do psychoanalysis. You have to look at it and then let it go. And if you don't look at it, it's going to be with your ass forever.
Right.
Because it's it's eternal. And if you don't look at it and deal with it, let me introduce you to your asshole.
Okay, so all right, so this is actually, we're kind of going off on a tangent here, but it's a valuable one. There's been a lot of discussion in our group lately about the necessity of trauma and whether it really was necessary or not. And we're also tracing a lot of major trauma that's embedded in the memory of the whole planet and matter itself to the destruction of Tiamat. So
correct. All that stuff's part of our DNA. Correct.
Okay, so you were describing technologies now that could, I've been through this lifetime, I've been through 5 dark nights of the soul. So, it's not like a foreign thing for me at this point, and I understand the dynamics of that. However, you said there's technologies out there that can take people through that in a matter of hours without the trauma. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, now, is the idea of karma or that we have to go through our dark nights of the soul or we need to go through the suffering, is that an embedded thought form, something that we chose to believe, or is that actually necessary?
If we have mass meditation, the karma's there, but it'll just simply go away. It'll be melted so quickly. Yeah.
We can dissolve it. Right, because I've actually had, in some of our group sessions, we've had insights up to that nature, is that with enough consciousness focused properly, it will dissolve karma, and not everybody will have to go through this whole process.
Well, it's I believe, one of the reasons is for us to cancel everybody's karma, not only the whole planet, but the entire universe. And that's why the immortal 2,000-year-old men are still here. There's some of them are way older than that. That are still here. It's kind of like, excuse me, what are you doing here?
Okay.
Asshole creation, you're hanging out. What's wrong? I intended to tickle you.
Oh, that's okay. You have a beautiful paper that you sent me on the feeling body and the development of the feeling body. And it's something that we've been working on ourselves in group for a while. And I just want to really, say again, what you're describing, Mike, not knowing you beforehand is very, very knowable. And there are groups of people doing that on the planet right now. It seems to be happening spontaneously. People touching with each other, connecting, learning how to have fun, enjoy, letting go. Letting go is huge. And it's also one of the hardest things I think humans have to do, is learn how to truly let go.
Well, our knowledge means you get to eat. That's why we hold on to it.
You mean in the world of like currency?
Yeah, right. Knowledge is currency. It's you got to get a college education in order to eat well. It's like ridiculous. Yeah.
I agree totally. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm just defining terms. That's all, because there's gnosis and there's book knowledge, and there's knowledge of titles and entitlements and currency and trade and all of that. So go ahead. I'm just in your imagination and in your view and in the things that you've seen and experienced, what is really going to set us free?
Ourselves. You got two ways of doing it: the divine intervention, or humans do it themselves. And divine intervention, the aliens landing, that will be divine intervention. And then doing it ourselves is how we become free. So that's the reason why this transition is being a little bit messy. Is because they don't want us worshiping anything anymore. And they want us to get to know ourselves, I guess. Really work in teams. It's so easy when you work in teams. Healing circle that you have, that the healing circle is unbelievable. It's the most powerful spiritual experience you can have close to dying. It's the energy is unbelievable in healing circle, almost unbearable sometimes. And you do things. You make things happen, and you get some people that do healing circle together long enough. Pretty soon, it is a transportation device, just like the Tesla Neutron device. You can build your own spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yes.
Our Anu actually is a spaceship traveling through the ethers at around 500,000 miles an hour as the solar system traverses the galaxy. So we are spaceships. The whole planet's a spaceship. All we got to do is kind of like say, okay, let's go to another universe. No problem. Bam.
Okay. So, Mike, describe from the spiritual physicist. We're aware, let's just say a group of us, we've been playing together for a while now, and we are aware of building ships. I know there's plenty of others out there that are also in that process right now. So can you describe that? Like,
it's just an Anu. Everything's an Anu. So the ship that you're building is the gestaltic combined awareness or intent of the group. So if the group holds one intent, then that is, it becomes a thing. You should name the thing. It's a being, and that's your ship. And so it's just an Anu that's larger than, like there's gestaltic consciousness for everything. There's gestaltic consciousness for horses and monkeys. And, well, the easiest are flocks of birds and schools of fish that all come of one mind, and they move as one. They don't stay like that. They can, but in moving as one, it's like a holiday for them. Because you let go of your mind, don't you? And you become into that seamless merging with the whole group, and so then the whole group gets to do really amazing things, and, I mean, really amazing and joyful, because you're just along for the ride.
Right. Dance. It's like a dance.
Yeah, right. It's singing and dancing. It's what the fairies, do. They sing and dance continuously. Nature spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a group of pygmies in the Congo that do the same thing. They sing and dance continuously. I forget the names of them exactly, but I've got the information. The guy was doing music research. He went to check out these pygmies in the Congo to see what their feeling was about some modern music, and he brings along the soundtrack from the movie Deliverance. With all of
oh my God, the banjos.
Huh?
The banjos?
Well, probably, yeah. Well, it could have been the banjo. Well, the banjo thing they would have liked.
Yeah.
Because for these pygmies, music was not music unless you could dance to it.
Okay.
And the reason that these pygmies made music is because they sang to the forest. The forest provided for them, and so they just sang to the forest to keep the forest happy.
Beautiful.
That's why they were doing it. And so the way that they did it was they're out doing the stuff that they have to do, to just gather up and forage things. And while they're doing that, they're whistling and singing. And they have like 7-part harmonies or overtones. That was their primary instrument, was their voices. Mm-hmm. And so this guy from McGill University in Montreal is trying to get these guys to stand still so that they will listen to the music he brought. They don't want to stand still. They want to just bounce and enjoy it. So it's like, hey, hello, humans, wake up.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Right. So there we go. Hello, humans, wake up. So just going back to the physics of it. So when you have a group intent, or I know you wanted to talk about group meditation, the way I perceive it, maybe I don't know if this is true, but it's like when there's a group that has opened up a field or they've built a ship together, they have an intent together that really, for me, resonates out of the heart chakra. That builds a more powerful magnetic field. Would you describe it that way? So the Anu's rotating it has more oomph to it? Would that be a way of saying that? I mean, what is really the physics of it? Because, that, you're going to talk about, too, is, we have counter dynamics or counter force right now on this planet. So it's not like you just float away. There seems to be there's something at work here.
Well, it's just the heart chakra is the middle of the thing. It's kind of like the seed. Uh-huh. But the thing is the whole thing. Wholeness means wholeness, the whole thing, not just part of the thing, the whole thing. So the whole thing is the Anu around you, your aura. And that's what does the merging. In order for you to merge with somebody else, that's the part that does the merging, not just the heart. Okay? The heart is a kind of a root idea, but once you've become who you really are, the Anu, the spiritual aspect, it all merges together, because that's what it does. It's merging, which is part of the problem. Again, it's why humans are separate. But anyway, so.
Okay, so what happens to the loose part, the Archons and the negative forces? What happens to all the controllers? What happens to them?
Well, what I'd really like to do with the Archons is incorporate them. They're part of our DNA for forever. And they've been kicking our ass. Well, it's our turn to kick their ass. Not really. It's very easy to bring the Archons on side. There are very loving, helpful genies, and those genies formerly were Archon. And there's some.
You go, wait, stop. Okay. I mean, really, some of the things you say are just they're worth a pause. So the Archons, the genies, the jinn, right?
Well, the genie and the jinn are a little different. Jinn is a male, dark dude. Genies are always female, loving ladies.
Oh, okay. Okay. But what you're saying is basically the archonic force, let's just call it that, the Archons, that can be taken into our field and it can be danced with or converted or assimilated, or what would be the right word for that?
Yeah. We're going to assimilate you. Resistance is futile. We can do that.
Yes, accept the inevitable, please. Right?
We can do that to the Archon. We can do that. But we have to be done with intention. But when you do, I don't want them to. Are you still there?
I'm back again.
Okay.
I am.
You just cut out here as well.
Okay, in this part of the galaxy, the cleaning up is the cleaning. Well, the solar system primarily. The solar system is quarantined off, and so these guys, the dark people, can't get away, and they don't want them. The reason they don't want to get them away is they infect the rest of the rest of God's creation. So that's the aspect of the quarantine, and so they're here. Our favorite little dog turds are here, and we need to bring them on side.
Okay.
And the way that we bring them on side is with love, and it's really easy to do. First of all, you have to look at our dark side, which is whatever it is, blowing up Tiamat, all these wars, all that stuff. Okay, and so that it doesn't scare you, right? You develop courage for this. Actually, it's just boring, because you get to see the images again. But anyway, so in the spiritual realms, nothing can hurt you. They can't do anything to you. The only thing they can do is get you to do something to you by providing images. That's how they work. That's how the Archons work for millions of years. It's really super simple and boring, but that's what they've been doing. And so they provide these images, we react to it. Next thing we would know, we blow up a planet or get in a war. That's how it works. Right? So what we have to have happen is that we look at the images and we just let them go. But even better, when you look at the images, you can see that what makes those images is the Archon. That's how they get together in teams. They make the images in the ethers. And where those images occurs on the Shiva part of the Anu, where it can't occur anywhere else. Okay, and so then we label those images, which makes it part of our DNA. And the next thing you know, you do have a war or whatever it is. That's how it works. Everything's a mirror image, and there's some complications due to the Anu and the way it works. Let me say this. Let me get back to the war here. This is very important. The way that we described earlier, that the image from the mind of God's converted to round 2D by the DNA part of the Anu, and then projected into the concave part of Shiva, the outer spin, and that's the pixel. That's one pixel. The fact that it works exactly like that is proven out by the Russian concave mirrors for many decades now. The Russians have been just put themselves in a concave mirror, highly polished, of aluminum or silver, so they got to do it. And when you spend any amount of time in there, you are going to see your past, present, and future. Period.
Mhm.
It's not a voluntary thing. It's involuntary the way they put it. You're in there, you're going to see that. That's it. And this concave mirror technology is how Nostradamus saw what he saw for the planet. Which is just one timeline. We've changed the timeline, since then. But anyway, so that we know how the Anu works. We have irrefutable proof of it, and so that the Anus are eternal, and thus your memories are eternal. All of this crap that we're talking about is eternal. It keeps repeating, doesn't it? And so the way you let go of it is that you basically make love with it. But the easy way to conscript the Anu or the Archon, and it just and they want this too themselves. The way, see, the Archon are just little bugs, and the thing about it is that they haven't grown. Everything else grows, do the rule, like attracts like, and love, it's self-attracting, everything grows. These guys don't. They stay little. Okay, all right, so what's the energy mechanics via which they can do that? And the answer is they don't have a love component, right? And so they have to have an Anu that makes them just like everything else, right? But their Anu is made of time and Pandora's box, and this is when Pandora's box came in. Now, you're God, and you've made all these square ethers for a very long time, and pretty soon you go, geez, I've been doing this for a long time. And that energy goes out into an ether, but because the rule has to circle back on itself, and then when it circles back on itself, it sees itself and it heads off at a right angle, and this right angle shows up everywhere, in spiritual stuff. The swastika is a very highly spiritual symbol. And anyway, so then it spins up to the other side of the cell, the etheric cell that it's in, and runs in the rule like tracks like, has to get back. So it's just going back in a straight line, but the spin on the inside portends a spin in the opposite direction on the outside, and then it heads back up, and you got the double DNA. And so you have two lines of the Anu that makes up. Those lines, one of them is made from time, and the other one is made from love, because that's what was there. That's the only thing that was there to make it from. It was those two energy forms. Mm-hmm. And the love one is without doubt. It's, the piece of electric green, the color of it. Now, when that first Anu formed up in the ethers, there's a piece of light. And so what did God do? Like all females, she asked, what is it? Is it made by Chanel? the next thing you know, we got judgment. What is it? So the Anu that makes the Archon, the two lines that make it, one is time, and the other one is judgment. And so that's why they don't grow. And so, how long have the Anu been around? From the very beginning. What's really interesting about the what is it question is that mana in Hebrew is a question meaning what is it? Mana. Okay? And the what is it is exactly what the Egyptians called the white powder of gold, which is the technology that the vast majority of people on this planet that have become enlightened have used, is the white powder of gold to achieve enlightenment. And that the technology of that is crystal clear on it. David Hudson's very, very good, but he misses the 2D aspect. He says it, but he doesn't go, oh, wow, what's 2D? Well, this is important aspect of 2D, that's hard for people to get, is that the ethers have lines that are in 2D, okay, and then there's an Anu inside there, so that has thickness to it, all right? But the thickness, it's infinite in the other two directions. The thickness has no meaning, so this is another reason that we don't detect the ethers with the Anus in them, is because in 2D there's no lineal time, so you get no vibrations. So the Anu within its etheric sheet spins, orbits, expands, and contracts without creating any noise. Noise being any kind of electromagnetic vibration, that if it did, we would pick it up, but it doesn't.
Right.
And so it's just an aspect of 2D. Even though the Innerview is an ovoid to us, three-dimensional ovoid, its environment is two-dimensional, and its properties are two-dimensional. So it's even though the ether's got a thickness, it is still 2D the way it works. So anyway, and the other this I really love this one, and that is that in the spiritual realms, in the 2D realms where you have no lineal time, the electric and magnetic components, the two main parts of electromagnetism, are parallel. And so you don't have polarity because they're parallel. Whereas everywhere else, that we talk about where you have polarity, the electric and magnetic components are at a right angle to one another. Isn't that interesting? Where did that start? Yeah. Anyway, so this right angle is how your ass doesn't fall through the chair. Otherwise you can walk through walls, which some people can do. And the other neat thing about the polarity aspect is that it causes everything we see to be crisp and sharp, defined lines, whereas the images that make those are very fuzzy. The images in the mind of God and the square ethers coming out are quite fuzzy, and the evidence of that is like holographic projections are fuzzy, and the reason they're fuzzy is because the holographic projection is a projection of the image in the mind of God, and I can explain how that. All holographic projections are that. It's not a holographic projection of the subject, in 3D. It is a holographic projection of the image in the mind of God that is extracted and deposited on the holographic diffusion pattern, any part of which you can cut it into 100 pieces, any part of which you can get the laser to will make the whole holographic projection. Okay, so you got to all of that. These facts have to stack up, which in my physics is very easy to understand. From 2D to 3D and so on and so forth. It's if Einstein and those guys had really accepted the ethers, they'd be way beyond where I'm at. And because and for now I'm way beyond just about anybody I know, except Patrick Flanagan. There are the square, pentagonal, and hexagonal ethers. There's also 7-sided and 8-sided ethers, and there's also a triangular ether, and there's also a circular archetype that started with the I am that I am. All of that stuff is there. It's all just images. Once you make an image, they're all eternal. Unless you change them. It's all consciousness. You can change them, or God can change them. She does. I mean, God made us, for the purpose of entertainment. Well, the other purpose for humans, which is talked about, is that we, due to our suffering, have a greater range of emotion and creativity.
Yes.
And so, as beings, and spiritual beings, apparently we're the most powerful beings in the entire universe, or very close to it. We are known about. We're the most famous beings in this universe, in most of the parallel universes, in a couple of universes that are 1 or 2 octaves up. They all know about humans. So we're quite famous. We're doing a pretty good job making noise.
The rabble. Yeah.
Anyway.
So this potential, she created us, and we are the village idiots, and we're the entertainment species. So, but there's purpose. You said earlier on when we started speaking, that there was a really good reason for this.
Well, given the facts that we really are entertainers, and it's been going on for millions of years, then it's obvious that out there, and it's a desperate situation for God and the rest of them, to have something that's different than what's been going on. So there's 2 things in out there. You got fear and love, and very little fear, really. Fear is just pretty much here where we're at in the solar system.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a couple other solar systems like this, who knows? But so fear and love is also boring. So it may be, and highly likely, that humans have created a new root feeling, and that would be freedom, I would think. Fun and joy, and freedom, go hand in hand. And if humans were to embrace that idea, then we can carry on with having fun and doing our job, being entertainers. It's kind of like, God's been stomping our ass for millions of years. There's probably a reason, and that's one of the better reasons I can think of.
Okay, so in one of our previous videos to this one, Mike, one of the things that we started to have a realization about was what the energy or the being that is commonly referred to as Lucifer, and all the misconceptions about that. I don't know if you have any studies in that direction, but all of this started coming in when we started to realize what happened with Tiamat. And what came up in our consciousness, some of it's research, some of it's coming up from the inner part of our consciousness, was that there had to be a new angle in creation. And so the forces, or what they commonly call the forces at Lucifer, came into this creation to put in a new angle of creation. And so basically there's a group of souls, beings here that are rebels.
Yeah, well...
And this is just, it's putting it out there in some sort of, not very profound way right now, and yet I feel it very deeply inside it. And you said perhaps that was the reason, is that things were in a very static creation. Something unexpected had to happen to bring about some change.
Well, that's, in doing our job, the best job we can do is to surprise God. And how do you do that? You surprise yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, but as far as Lucifer and aliens and dark dudes and light dudes, and all and the blue avians, and all of those things, okay, every bit of that exists within layers of consciousness.
Exactly.
For example, the humans, our normal awareness of the electromagnetic spectrum is so tiny it's ridiculous, But that's our layer of consciousness. Well, everything does that, right? So what's your viewing pleasure, please? It's immediately available. We aim to please. You can have anything you like, as long as you like it real lot. You'll get it, no problem. And so, we like Lucifer a lot, and we think that it looks like Satan. We think whatever we think is, period.
Right, but that was the whole point of us doing this, was that to, like you said, there are image makers out there that have basically infiltrated the mind, and they have given us the images to believe in, and so the mass majority of people just take those images in and don't question them. Well, we just started questioning what was Satan, what was Lucifer. And in that, we found not a bad dude, okay, actually found one of the more primordial forces of this creation. And now that's all I'm saying, is that there seems to, along with what you were saying, is that there seems to have been a decision made, or in the mind of God, if you want to put it that way, was to sort of crack this reality open and take it off in a new direction, which does seem to come through a deep sense of feeling a wide range of emotions, including trauma and suffering.
Yeah, which are very useful if you accept them. As soon as you don't accept them, then then you got a problem. But as long as you accept them, no problem.
Right. Exactly. So, that's just, just going along with it. There's probably as many of us that are viewing life are going to have a slightly different interpretation. But I agree with you. There's aliens, Lucifer, anything that we are labeling, exactly, which is the biggest problem I see, is that we label things.
Judgment.
And that's why I go back to which I loved about when I first heard you was the descriptors of the energies themselves and how they operate, the description of how the angles are created, the descriptions of the ethers, because that gives the mind, the human mind that's self-seeking within itself knowledge, more aspects to work with. Like when I listen to you, I go inside and I start visualizing that. Or with anybody that I feel is bringing in some newness, right? Something
newness. This is oldness. This is how it works. And then we have to know how it works in order to change it. Okay.
Right.
So if you don't know how the playground works, you're not going to be able to get anywhere on the monkey bars. It's going to hurt.
So when I totally agree with you, Mike. I really honor you for the work you're doing, because it's like if we don't have this information, which is probably our origins, right? Like this is like the original us stuff.
Well, I don't know if it's original us. It's the I mean, God, if God wanted, if God really had an idea in mind for us to be like, we'd be like that. I can guarantee you that is going to happen. What she does want with us is no predictability. She wants predictability is a major problem, and we want to stop that. And predictability, I mean, this is a big thing to change, because when you were talking, I was reminded of the seamless merging, where you attain the past, present, future. That you become the thing, and you attain this past, present. You know it totally. And okay, well, excuse me. How does that seamless merging occur exactly? And the answer is anu. And because all of the information is in those anus, just like it's in your anu. And the reason that those two things can match up is because they basically are the same thing, and they are same attracting, and so bam, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just like when you get in the concave mirror, you will see your past, present, future, because it's there. There's nothing you can do about it. And so, excuse me, why aren't we getting to see that all the time? Answer is, we need idiots. You guys are performing a really good function of entertaining the rest of us, quite literally. That's what's going on. And not only that, as you're leading up to, we're coming to a time when humans can do their full job, which is to change all of God's creation, or we can slip out into the void and make a new one. We can do both, actually.
That sounds good to me. I mean, if I would sit in the mind of God right now, which would be my own mind, which would be my own feelings, is that we've been on this cycle too long. It's come to its completion. It as is. It's not going to go anywhere except for back into another loop. So there seems to be a great deal of, call us being souls that are here right now to do exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that seems to be part of the grand plan or the bigger picture here. So we do have to surprise ourselves. I am so in agreement with that. Do the unexpected. Dance when you don't. I mean, just anything we could possibly imagine. Open up the imagination.
In 2D, imagination is supreme.
Yeah. And that's the thing, with what you're saying, Mike, that's the physics of how imagination manifests. That's your physics, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and so
too.
we know that instead of just believing it or having faith, but once we know that, then we can put that to work.
Let's let go. I sent you a meditation about letting go.
Yeah, beautiful. It's just letting go.
I did that. I invented that one. That's my meditation.
Right. And you also sent another one about the feeling body, which is really so simple. And this is the work that we stumbled into. I mean, we really stumbled into something. Avatar meditation. Yeah. Right. But which is really like going in. I mean, we're universes. I mean, you don't have to interview yourself with a little bit of knowledge to understand that.
Yeah.
And then,
death is not possible.
Huh?
Death is not possible. Everything
right.
wears off.
So I asked you once when we were speaking in, I feel like we could talk for hours and hours, but I asked you, isn't it possible with full consciousness? I don't like to use the word enlightenment because that also has so many things attached to it, but with full conscious awareness, that past, present, future, all in the one now minute, which is presence I am. Or what it would be is like you're in the anu state where you're connected to everything. How much reality can we actually shift here without technology, or is technology necessary?
How much reality can we say again?
Shift with our imagination, with understanding.
In other words, how much reality can we connect up to?
Yeah, connect up to, but I mean, now here we go, connect up to, well, I think we're connecting up. But how much is going to shift on this planet in the 3D realm as we know it?
Oh, well, in order to save the planet, we have to do the spiritual solution. And so, we have to. And so the end result of that will be that humans consciously take control of the planet and use it like what it is, a spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
We could take the planet or the whole solar system to another galaxy if you want. It's all just consciousness, and it's malleable, and once you learn how to control it,
mm-hmm.
then learning how to control it is like astral projection or lucid dreaming. Same thing. You have to learn how to control it. And what obviously very helpful with that is telepathy. The spoken word is one of the banes of humanity. It is.
I agree.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think we're to a time right now, Mike, where words will never be sufficient to transfer the information that we're receiving.
Exactly.
Farts work better, probably. Than words.
I have such a struggle right now trying to bring things into a language form. I really do. It's becoming a more of a struggle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, in teams, working in teams, you can develop telepathy. The spiritualist churches have done that shit for a long time. As well as healing and so on, sort of things that they do. And working in teams, and you get little cells, and you work in teams, and you get to the point where you include the entire planet, and this is how humans have to proceed to save the planet, is to do these mass meditations, but preferably do them in teams.
That's the point that I wanted to bring up when you talked about, mass meditations. But yes, do them in teams, because I find, or I've seen, or we've all observed perhaps, is that when there's a mass meditation and somebody's leading it or putting out the image that everybody's following, is, just primed for being taken over.
Just what?
Primed for being taken over. If you have like one person leading a meditation, whether in a worldwide meditation, that can be imaged to maybe a subconscious level where we're imaging something that we're not choosing. I'm much more along the line of small teams doing the unexpected, but working all the time in this imaginary realm of imagining the planet. And I love one of the things you said, to imagine a pristine planet, right?
Yeah.
Just to be able to focus inward. I mean, that image to me is actually already there.
Yeah, of course it is.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like finding that image in yourself and holding that and then imaging it back out. My only concern about mass-led meditations is I've watched too many of those movements get taken over.
They tend to become massive loot harvests.
They're infiltrated by somebody that wants to move the meditation into something else. I feel this is very much is that as humans we're still too much followers, and the majority of humans are followers. And so right now we still have we have talking heads out there. We have media, even in the alternative media community, we have those that garner like lots and lots and lots of mass consciousness. So if you listen very carefully, you can find out sometimes they're misdirecting. there's subtle misdirects in that. So, I always, when I speak publicly or I speak on a video, I'm always talking about using also the fine tuning of discernment and not just taking in everything that's being put out there and finding yourself. I mean, you've already said it, Mike. I mean, this is really, really the key to all of it, is go inside.
Yeah, well, the main thing is to connect up with other people, like flocks of birds and schools of fish. And in so doing, man can achieve freedom.
Yeah.
Because via working together, you can break the losh. And the mass meditation works is called the Maharishi effect, which is the most rigorously studied phenomenon in the social sciences. And the way that it works is exactly like the 100th monkey thing. When you get the right number of meditators, there'll be a quantum leap, and it's immediate, it's instant, in no time, basically. It appears to take a little time to us, but in reality, these quantum leaps occur in no time. And so the Earth can be fixed the same way. If we get everybody making orgone devices, then it's maybe 15-20% of the planet meditating. The whole place will change. Without orgone devices, it's 30% or more. Orgone devices are absolutely required because if we drop into a golden age, all of this information, like what we're sharing right now, will go away. All the digital information will go away. What will be left over is printed information. And God forbid that a succeeding population on this planet gets hold of any of the spiritual books that are here now. They are all control systems, period.
Exactly. I totally agree. I mean, this is something that we've come to in our own inner studies here, is when you really look at it, they're all control groups.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that's why the unexpected, use the imagination, free the imagination, free yourself from all of it. I mean, even those that teach within the systems, any real master will say that the system will only get you so far, and then you have to drop the system.
Well, no, the way the universe is constructed is the same, in this universe and next universes, and working in teams is the how to do it. You can also work as couples, which is the dance, the divine dance of Shiva and Shakti. And then, but the vast majority of enlightened beings on this planet have been males, which is yuck, mucks.
So the divine dance of Shiva and Shakti, and also just to touch on, because this is something also that seems to be wanting to get out there and into that morphogenic field as people start thinking about it. You talk about the glue is the orgasm. And so I would like you to explain it from your point of view. And
there's no point of view, it's just a rule, like attracts like.
Right.
Love is self, same attracting. Piles up, next thing you know, you got a quantum leap. Oh, that was good.
Okay. So, okay. All right. But how does, I read your piece on that. It's like you had an experience.
I have what?
You had an experience with a major amount of download of information, of energy pouring through you, that you would describe as orgasmic.
Well, that's how they all do. It's the yogis have been saying for thousands of years that the feeling of enlightenment is like being in a continuous orgasm with the cosmos. And everybody that goes through enlightenment experience by themselves, that I know of, myself included, you have the light beings come and make love to you. Standard operating procedure. I don't know what it is. They think we need more or they need more. I don't know which it is, but the bottom line, I guess we're the vacant idiots. We need more love. We're a little low on love, which is why the aliens haven't showed up here. It's because, humans are too much into judgment and fear. And they all of the TV and the U.S. military and all the military, they want us to fear the aliens, because the War of the Worlds, they want us to fear the aliens. It's freaking ridiculous. In order to traverse the ethers, you have to be love-based, otherwise you're not going to do that. Okay? So the only really dark entities, beings that are here in the solar system live only here. They didn't come from somewhere else. They can't. Because they can't, they talk about the quarantine. They quarantine themselves. Because, how far is a puss pocket going to get in a field of love? Not very far.
Make love, not war, right?
Yeah. Which dials back to, dealing with the Archon. First you get them caught in the dance, then you bolt into a DNA tunnel of love, which will add the love component to their Anu. It's a permanent change. And they love it. I've done this to all the dark beings, they don't come around me anymore. It's boring because they're fun. The dark being starts coming, okay, come on along, let's have a dance. And they will sync up. As soon as you start dancing with them, they'll sync up. The minute they sync up, bam, you bolt off into the DNA tunnel of love, and pretty soon they come out changed, totally changed. And I've had them come back to me and provide amazing entertainment. I mean, they're really funny. They're, very clean, stuff that humans have been doing for a long time. Like Mr. Potato Head and these kinds of things. They come back and show me, stuff that they've picked up. They're funnier now.
And so another subject, something that quality that we all should embrace is being silly, right? Yeah,
really. Well, non sequiturs. Great.
Mr. Potato Head. Who thought up Mr. Potato Head? Excuse me. Oh, it's so beautiful, Mike. Really, truly, it's wonderful to hear you and speak with you and hear you laugh and snort and snart.
Well, I take the entertainment the requirement seriously. We need to do that.
Come on. It's really probably what really most people suffer from on this planet. It's boredom.
Yeah.
Really, if you have to go to watch television and MTV or most Hollywood movies, you're bored.
Yeah.
You're bored. So we have to step out of our boredom and get fun and silly and unexpected and like you said, keep making teams, keep reaching out to people. I also think, it's really interesting how many people stop themselves from fear. We're so self-limiting.
Yeah.
Really, really, I've met so many people lately that have just they're stepping through these little fear doors, Oh, should I call that person? Should I talk to that person? Should I make that move? Should I change, all the things that just keep moving and changing. And I would say, and I don't know if you agree or maybe you do or you've seen it enough, is that once you start doing that, you open up the flows of the universe.
Yeah, when you let go of fear and you just do whatever comes to mind, then lots of good stuff comes.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Is that part of that is part of the law here, right? Just let go. Ever since I've started on this letting go process, it's wow, I'm just in awe all the time. And even when it feels really hard and challenging, I'm still pretty much in awe because I know that if I get through the next piece here, that it's going to be even more than I could ever even have imagined yet.
Oh, well, what's really good is when you start seeing stuff show up that you'd forgotten that you'd asked for. That's one. And then two, you start seeing stuff show up that is just, where'd that come from?
Right.
That's where we're trying to get to is, who done it?
Who done it?
Who's on first? I don't know. I don't know who's on third. Another one I really liked came out of the soap, and Bert was going someplace and there was an alien that was impersonating him, So Bert tells somebody, look, I'll meet you at this place, but in between, if you see me, don't talk to me. It ain't me.
Well, that sounds like fun, Mike. So yeah, and meanwhile, back on planet Earth, and
it's like this. This is one of my spiritual precepts. Okay, one of Emery's spiritual precepts. If you find yourself someplace that you don't know where you're at, and you have no idea how you got there, and you don't remember why you came, then you have succeeded.
You know what? We're getting close.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's
we are
losing the mind process.
Yeah. Well, you just described a kind of an eerie sense of feeling that I've had for the last week or so.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah. It's like, and I told Claudia, didn't I, yesterday?
Yeah.
Claudia, I don't think I know where I am anymore. I don't think I can describe it any longer. Okay, so it means divine intervention after all, right? But see, that's the thing that scares most people. It does.
Of course, they equate knowledge to food. And all of a sudden you're going to cancel all that? No, excuse me. I'm holding on to it. Okay, idiot. Okay, you're welcome.
Well, I suggest that we have a party somewhere.
That's how you get from point A to point B.
This is fantastic. This is beautiful. It's quite a joy. It's a joyride, right?
Well, and the orgasmic switch is conveniently located.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. You turn it on sometimes. I mean, I've met more people, Mike, lately, honestly, that are in that field right now. And it is a difficult one sometimes for the body to take.
Yeah, we've been taught for years and years. St. Augustine came up with the original sin. And I'm sure that without doubt, there have been 4 Jesus figures, exactly like Jesus, mirror image lifetimes. Dionysus was a Greek, and Thoth, and another one, and so this massive repeats that's been going on here for a long time, and what do? They provide hope. That's it. They don't provide mastery. How do you get from point A to point B? And instead, what they do is they take it away from us, give us rules like the 10 Commandments, and they give the real technology to the dark dudes who've been controlling us. If that's no shit, that's what's been going on. And so, okay, God, thank you very much for the ass whipping.
Right. Right.
And so that's why I am completely irreverent. Why would you worship somebody that has kicked your ass for millions of years? Excuse me. Simple question. You do have to answer it going forward. But the other thing is gratefulness. Absolutely. All of this stuff is here as a presence, gift. Use it like that.
Right.
And it don't make any difference what kind of dog turd it is. It's you.
Okay, so dance a lot, sing a lot, do unexpected, make organ devices, which I think is brilliant. It really inspired me, and I'm on that party line with you now. Okay, I'm making that party happen. All right. Really, honestly, it's that is another aspect for most of us humans in this body right now, is that we need to do something, right? I mean, we still feel the impulse to create. So be very cognizant of what we're creating. And I can't think of anything better than planting a garden and building organ devices.
Yes,
or raising, going back to that. I mean, you gave me personally, and I think a couple other people I know also, like a real kick in that direction. So thank you for that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I know Claudia's you made organ for a long time, Claudia, didn't you?
I did, yeah, about 10, 12 years ago.
Oh, well, yeah, but how many did you make? How many pieces?
Oh, probably a couple of hundreds over the course of a year.
And so are those around near where you are, or what do you do with them?
I gifted them in the Bournemouth area.
Okay. Well, the thing to do, is to just make a bunch of them and put them out in an array. You feel, you use your feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and you put them around where you're at outside.
Yes, I was living in Bournemouth at the time, so that's basically what I did.
Area,
Yeah.
Because and especially if you do meditation every day,
Mm-hmm.
you can create a field that is really quite wonderful.
Yes.
Within which everything grows and all that kind of stuff. And so those are the pockets, the seeds, and teamwork that we need.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be careful not to have too much orgone in the house because it can get to the point where it cancels electricity.
Yes.
But and Wi-Fi goes down first of all, and then the cell phones go down. And then the phone itself won't work. Light bulbs start going. At that point, the light bulbs and computers start blowing up.
I don't need orgone to make that happen, actually.
Was that right?
Yeah.
I was just saying to Mike is that when we put this up, I want to put links to his healing circle group.
Yes.
And he was saying that that the groups they were so blown away by the effectiveness that they didn't come back to it.
Wow.
And I was mentioning that really fundamentally that's another big issue.
Well, in Reno, when I lived in Reno, we had a group of us that did it twice a week. And when you get up to doing it 3 times a week is when the power really kicks in. And you'll have a halo around your head, all your chakras be open. I mean, it really does affect you in a positive way, of course, but there's a little bit of pain sometimes associated with it. It's a really heavy-duty energy healing circle is. Mm-hmm. If you do it 3 times a week, you'll know. You actually physically become lighter.
Mm-hmm.
It's really amazing. And people levitate and healings occur.
Yeah. Well, so I will definitely put that up there for people that want more instruction in that area. And again, encourage anybody that's feeling moved is just reach out to a few people. We are beings of resonance, and we do feel resonance with each other. And just reach out to those that you feel that resonance with. Miracles happen. I mean, they really do.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing about the mass meditation. It'll cause all these things to happen automatically.
Right. It's not automatic. It's inherent in us.
Yeah.
And we're really just taking away barriers. It's really not a lot of magic involved in it once you start dropping the veils and the barriers.
Everything is magic. It's all divine. It all manifests here from the no thing every microsecond.
Right.
The matter doesn't exist. It's all just consciousness.
Exactly.
And if the vast majority of humans on this planet toggle to that and start changing the image collectively, Bob's your uncle.
I like that, toggle to it. That's great, Mike. It's so, and this is what motivated myself and Claudia and others that we are, having groups with, is that we know also by speaking this and getting it out there, it is having an effect, and encouraging others to go for it. Just go for it. But we really don't have anything to lose at this point, folks.
Well, that's it. I think I used to think that the main problem was that humans didn't believe anything that was non-physical.
Mm-hmm.
And so healing circle and the glow meditation are both tangible, very, very tangible.
Right.
You can feel spiritual energy big time.
Right.
And so then you know that it's real. But then it scares the shit out of them. They run off. But those technologies, and they are technologies too. But the same thing occurs with the avatar technologies, because when like the feeling body meditation, where you create a healed person, and you merge that healed feeling body with your physical body, you then cure or heal your physical body. That's that's avatar meditation, and it is, as we talked about with the creation of magnesium for the crop of corn. That's how the corn does, how nature does, how God does it. if there's already something there and we want something different, we just change the information in the middle of the anu, in the Jesus part of the anu, and the thing changes, the image changes. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievably simple, and the facts and the physics and everything supports it. And so collectively using our minds, first of all, pristine planet. Secondly, cancel the past. Thirdly, where do you want to go?
Well, I'm on.
Definitely.
I'm on board.
But see, we have to, all of the losh, like Tiamat blowing up, all that stuff, we have to let go of. And so learning to do that and actually doing it will be canceling the karma for the entire universe. And we're basically the cleanup crew. The idiots, the entertainers, and now the cleanup crew. Especially when it comes to Archon. If we bring the Archon on side, then that solves problems forever.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
They don't get away and go out and screw something else up somewhere else.
Something tells me that was her plan.
That was what? Their plan?
That was her plan. Something had to be done, right?
Well, yeah, they have to. In order to cancel history and cancel karma, you have to cancel the past. And these guys are part of the past. They got to become part of the present in a loving manner. And when they do, they're going to be very useful to us because anytime we have the desire to do something, they're going to help do it. It's the nature of consciousness, is to be cooperative and to merge up and sync up with things. For Christ's sake,
Exactly. Yeah. So did we sign up for this?
You're here. That's all simple.
It is simple. That's the beauty of it, is that it is simple.
And it's important to learn that, and even including how the ethers work and anu works, because once you understand all that, then you can let go of it. Okay, well, that's how it is, ain't it? Yeah, it is. Okay, what do I get to do now? I don't know. What can you do? You show us. We'll watch.
There you go. That's the thing. That really is. And I said that to somebody the other day. I said, well, you might surprise me, right?
Yeah, do your best, please.
Your best, exactly. Surprise me. I haven't been surprised yet. I want to be surprised. So that might be her talking through me. Oh, honestly, this is great. So when's the next campfire?
Campfire?
Yeah.
How do you mean?
Yeah, the next time we get together. I'm imagining sitting out there on the Montana plains around a campfire, Mike, with a...
Yeah. We could eat shit and bark at the moon. Everybody'd notice.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. I might meow. I don't know. Well, very, very awesome. I don't know if anybody wants to go somewhere else with this.
I don't know. The main thing is to get the mass meditations going, building orgone devices. That way we can say, we got no choice.
Okay. So
it has to be done. Even if the aliens come down, they're not going to completely save us, because if they do, then we wind up worshiping them. They're going to go away and say, okay, now you guys got to fix it. And maybe then they'll say, group meditation, you need to do that, please, change image. I don't know. It's got to happen either before or after or whenever. At some point, humans have to get together and break the karma of this whole solar system in order to progress, in order to become free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just like the flocks of birds and schools of fish. They don't stay together. But being together like that is freedom for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was beautiful. You posted that on the starlings, the way they fly together.
Yeah.
That very afternoon, I was driving, and a huge flock of them were entertaining me to no end up in the sky watching that. It's gorgeous. That's another thing. It's like, just look at the world around you and be in awe for a while.
Yeah.
The way that the shades of the murmuration work, the way that works is reflected in a etheric realm that is inhabited by the old masters like Beethoven and Bach and Mozart. And in this realm, you have continuously changing images like the murmuration of starlings, but that also changes in color, and there's music, that goes along with it, and it's continuous. That's what they've created.
Yep.
Yeah, Claudia knows really a lot about that, actually.
And then there's all kinds of other things in between, that folks want to have.
So step into those realms. I mean, they're so beautiful. They're so instructive too. I mean, that's the thing, is instruction doesn't come through this verbal dialogue that we're having. It comes from listening in between.
Well, merging, everything else out there is merging. What we do here is, separateness. And we provide a service, a holiday, for the folks out there, separateness. Because they're never separate. They're always connected, So humans being separate to a certain extent, well, to a great extent, the way we operate now, is a holiday for, for the entirety of God's creation. We provide entertainment, quite literally a holiday from the rush of knowingness, boring. And the dark thing, the poor dark people that are around us, they don't have anywhere near the power or the flights of imagination that we do, and in particular the Archon envy our creativity. So you know how you solve that problem? Huh? You there?
Yes.
I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm waiting for the
answer. You know how you solve the problem of the Archon envying our creativity?
You bring them into it.
Give it to them. Yeah, correct.
You give it to them.
That's
Claudia.
That one piece of knowledge, that one right there, that one piece of knowledge is a pivotal moment in human history.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You want to get out of the problems? Give it to them. Give them the best you got. No more problems.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that goes, really, when you say that, it just goes down through all levels of activity. Whether you're dealing with an Archon or you're dealing with somebody that's in your face, or, we're talking on these realms of people who are dealing with everyday problems all the time, right?
Yeah.
A boss that doesn't like you, or, all the things that humans are all locked up in, right?
Do the best you can by everybody you meet during that particular period of time. And make it difference what they have done in the past or what they're doing at that point in time. You still do the best you can by them, period.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's a challenge. That's a big challenge. That is a challenge.
Why? As long as you're playing with them, they don't notice and you don't notice.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that because the way we've been wired, we are in a reactivity most of the time. Or I'm speaking generally, right? So usually usually when somebody isn't nice to you, you get reactive and you don't want to be nice to them, right? And so what we're really saying is, be big enough, bring them into your field, dance with them. What was her name? The woman that just passed, Roddy. What's her name? Claudia.
Which one?
The woman, she spoke so beautifully of love all the time.
Nancy Reagan?
No, Nancy Reagan. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I would put it out there, but just really that power of being able to dance with a person that's negative to you and not go into that reactivity will change it. It will.
Yeah, right.
It will. It may challenge you, but then you get to find out who you are during that challenge.
Exactly.
Well, all they're doing is showing you part of yourself anyway, which you might as well make up with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was doing that.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that. Right? There you go. So if that's there, and I just want to say bravo. Thank you.
It's everything's a mirror. It's all mirrors. That's all.
Okay.
We're just little programs running around inside a big program. And the way that we become free little programs is that we run around inside the big program and change the damn thing.
Well, put a few wrenches in the work here along the way.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, you can lay down some little bits for joy. I mean, because the one thing that darkness does do is that there's humor involved in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the one thing that really works really well, actually.
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed, is if some entity or some dark space or something doesn't want to let go, because some of them are pretty stubborn, is if you laugh, they become irrelevant, and they don't really like irrelevancy, so they either will dance or laugh with you, or they'll leave. So that's
right. But you don't want them to get away. If they come around, you want to grab them, and dance with them.
Absolutely.
You don't want to run them off or try to bowl them over with love or any of that kind of shit. You just change them, on a foundational level, and job's done.
Okay, got it.
Hey,